dragons, monsters, fire. Can Geralt survive the dangers of a magical world? Hello, welcome. Today, we will read a story from The Witcher. This story is for beginners. It is simple and fun. Let's start the adventure with Geralt. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Don't forget to watch the next part to see what happens to Geralt. Part 1. The Bounds of Reason. Geralt rode his horse fast through the forest. The trees were tall and dark. The wind was cold, and the leaves whispered as he passed. Suddenly, he saw something strange. Smoke was rising in the distance. He knew something dangerous was happening. As he got closer, he saw a giant dragon. The dragon had caught a group of elves in its trap. Its eyes were red and burning. Smoke came from its nose and mouth. The elves were screaming, "Help us! Help us!" Geralt jumped from his horse. He ran quickly toward the dragon with his silver sword. The dragon roared loudly. Fire shot from its mouth, burning the ground. Geralt rolled to the side and hit the dragon's leg with his sword. The dragon screamed in pain. The elves ran to a safe place, but the dragon was smart. It used magic. The trees moved like hands and tried to trap Geralt. He swung his sword again and again, breaking the branches. The dragon hissed and tried to crush him with a big tail. Geralt jumped over it and ran faster. Suddenly, a sorceress appeared. Her name was Yennefer. She raised her hands, and fire and ice magic mixed in the air. The trees moved away. The dragon was angry and confused. It tried to fly, but Yennefer and Geralt were ready. Geralt jumped high and cut the dragon's tail. Sparks flew from his sword. The dragon roared and swung its wings. Fire and ice clashed in the forest. The elves watched from afar, scared but hopeful. Geralt shouted, "Watch out! Don't come closer!" The dragon tried to run, but Yennefer raised her hands and shouted. Ice spikes shot from the ground. The dragon screamed again. Geralt ran under its legs and struck its side. The dragon fell to the ground. Smoke came from its nose, and it stopped moving. The elves ran to Geralt and Yennefer. "Thank you. You saved us. You are heroes," they said. Geralt nodded, tired but satisfied. Yennefer looked at him and said, "You are brave, but we must be careful. Danger is everywhere." That night, the forest was quiet. Geralt and Yennefer sat near a small fire. Sparks from the fire danced in the dark. They looked at the stars. They knew that adventure was never over. Danger could come again at any moment, but together they could face it. Part 2. A Shard of Ice. Winter had come. The mountains were white with snow, and the wind cut like knives. Geralt rode slowly. His horse, Roach, struggled through the snow. He was looking for a dangerous creature called a monster, but his thoughts were elsewhere. He thought about a sorceress named Yennefer. He could not forget her. She was beautiful and strong. Sometimes she was kind, sometimes she was cruel. But Geralt could not stop thinking about her. He felt a strange feeling in his chest. He did not understand it. Suddenly, a scream broke the quiet of the snowy mountains. Geralt jumped from his horse and ran toward the sound. He saw a man and a woman trapped by a huge monster. It had sharp claws and glowing eyes. Its teeth were long and white. It moved fast, and the snow flew around it. Geralt shouted, "Get back!" He ran forward and threw a knife at the monster. The knife hit the creature, but it did not stop. The monster growled and came closer. Geralt rolled on the snow and cut its leg. The monster screamed. Then he heard a voice. It was Yennefer. She stood on a small hill. Her hands glowed with magic. She shouted, "I will help you, Witcher." I shot from her hands. The monster slipped and fell on the snow. Sparks flew. Geralt ran faster. He cut the monster's other leg. The creature screamed again and tried to run, but Yennefer was ready. She made a wall of ice, stopping it. Geralt jumped and hit its head with his sword. The monster finally fell silent. After the fight, Geralt and Yennefer stood in the snow. The cold wind blew, but they did not care. Yennefer looked at him. "Why do you always fight alone, Geralt?" she asked. He smiled slightly. "Because sometimes I have no choice." They walked down the mountain together. The snow was deep and the sky was gray. They could feel the cold, but also something else, a strange connection, a bond that was hard to explain. Geralt thought about love, duty, and danger. All of them were mixed together, like ice and fire. That night, they lit a small fire in a cave. The snow fell outside, covering the mountains in white. Geralt looked at Yennefer. "We survive because we fight," he said softly. Yennefer nodded. "And sometimes we fight for each other," she whispered. The wind howled outside, but inside the cave they were safe for now. They knew danger was always near. But together they were stronger, and the world of monsters and men was waiting for them, always full of challenges. Part 3: Eternal Flame. The sun was setting, and the sky was red. Geralt walked through a small village. Smoke came from the chimneys, and people were hurrying home. He had heard rumors of a dangerous fire spirit. This spirit attacked villages and disappeared before anyone could stop it. Geralt reached the village square. The villagers were scared. "Please help us," they cried. "The eternal flame is coming." Geralt nodded. He knew this would not be easy. He followed the trail of burned trees and ash. The ground was black, and the air smelled of smoke. Suddenly, a bright light appeared. The fire spirit rose into the air. Its body was made of flames, and it burned everything around it. The villagers screamed and ran. Geralt drew his silver sword. "I have to stop it," he said. The fire spirit moved fast, faster than a man could run. Sparks flew, and small fires started in the nearby houses. Geralt ran toward the spirit. He jumped and swung his sword. The silver blade touched the flames. It burned, but also cut the spirit's arm. The spirit screamed and moved back. Geralt rolled to the side and avoided a fireball. Then he saw a woman standing on a roof. It was Yennefer. She raised her hands, and magic swirled around her. Blue sparks flew, and the fire spirit screamed again. Geralt and Yennefer worked together. He attacked from the front, and she used magic from above. The battle was long. Flames lit the sky. Ash fell like snow. Villagers watched from a distance, amazed. Geralt cut the spirit's legs, and it fell to the ground. Yennefer made a circle of ice around it, stopping the flames. Finally, the fire spirit disappeared. The village was safe. People ran to Geralt and Yennefer. "Thank you. You saved us," they said. Geralt was tired, but he nodded. Yennefer smiled slightly. That night, they walked outside the village. The stars shone in the dark sky. You were amazing, Geralt said. Yennefer looked at him. We are a good team, she replied. They knew the world was full of danger. Monsters, fire spirits, and evil people could appear anytime. But together, they were ready for anything, and the eternal flame would not trouble this village again. But danger is not over. Geralt has bigger challenges ahead. Watch the next video to see what happens.